So as we have seen, let's see, we have learned about Flexbox. Today,
Mm.
uh, let's review the Flexbox and also let's see the Flexbox cheat sheet. Okay,
Okay.
in which we can actually uh, check all Flexbox properties in action.
Okay.
Okay, so as we know, Flexbox. Okay, the outer one is is a container,
Um,
and items
mm.
inside, elements inside the container are flex items.
Items.
Okay,
Okay.
so any element, if we give display flex, that becomes flex container. All items
Containers.
implicitly become flex items. Okay,
Okay.
so what are the flex container properties? These are all flex container properties. Okay, we have learned
Mm.
main axis and cross axis. By default, what is they are
Row.
laid along row. The main axis is
Mm.
row.
Row.
Yeah,
Mm.
cross axis is
Mm.
vertical or column.
Okay.
So, what are the flex container properties? Display. This is what makes
Mm.
a this is what makes a uh, element a flex container. The flex direction, it is by default row. Okay, so which
Okay.
actually defines the main axis flex direction.
Mm.
Okay, these properties include row, column, row reverse, column reverse. That defines the main axis. So if you want to change the main axis, what do you use? Flex direction. Okay, the flex wrap is the one property we use whether all items in the container should wrap or not. If they if you use no wrap, all will be actually resized to fit in a single line. Otherwise,
Okay.
they will be distributed to multiple lines. A flex flow
Mm.
is a shorthand, okay, for a flex direction and flex wrap. Using this property, you can set flex direction and flex wrap, two properties. Justify content, we have been using that. It is used to align items along a main axis. The
Axis.
align items is the property we use to
For cross.
align items along cross axis. The align
Okay.
content is what we use when we have multiple lines. When do we get multiple lines? When we use flex wrap equal to wrap. Sorry, flex wrap.
Mm.
When we set the flex wrap. Okay. So in such a case, the all items will be if items are actually taking up more space, they will be pushed to the next line. So in such a case, whether to align all those items, how these multiple lines are placed. Okay,
Okay.
along cross axis uh, defines by align content. Now, this is only effective when we have multiple lines.
Mm.
Okay, what is other one? The order. These are all properties of
Flex.
flex item. Okay, the order is the one when you want to specify order for a particular item. So let's say if you have multiple items like this. Okay, so you want to place this third item. Let's say we have first. Okay, we want to place a third item first. So in such a case, we can use order.
Okay.
Okay, and set that. Okay, uh, the position. We can literally give the position here to place that in that position. What happens to the other one? Uh, that will be, existing one will be moved. The flex grow, these are the things we have to see. The flex grow, flex shrink, the flex basis. Flex basis is just a shorthand. Okay, so sorry,
Okay.
flex is a shorthand. Okay, for these three properties: flex
Okay.
grow, flex shrink, flex basis. So
Okay.
these properties make a Flexbox responsive. Flex grow,
Okay.
flex shrink, flex basis. And flex we can use flex to define, to set flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis in this order. No, it is a shorthand
Okay.
for that. Before we discuss, let's check what is align self. Align self is what? Let's say that how do you align if you use uh, justify content? We can use justify content and align items to place align to place items uh,
Mm.
along a main axis and cross axis. Yeah,
Access.
but when you want to explicitly set its position, uh,
Okay.
okay, for the particular flex item, okay, along the cross axis, we use align cell.
Okay.
Okay, so this will see flex grow. So before we will we'll see flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis in action. But before we get into action, so let me give a brief introduction to what are these. A
Okay.
flex grow is a property that defines whether the item should grow if there is a extra space in the container. Let's say that we have container. These are three items, okay, and this is a flex container, okay. The lot of space is
Okay.
here, okay, lot of space is here. So in such a case, it defines a flex grow defines ability of that particular item to grow and occupy rest of the space, okay, grow and occupy rest of the space if necessary. Flex grow. And flex shrink
Okay.
is, okay, the when container shrinks and when you make the container small, okay. uh,
So
okay,
ఒక డౌట్.
define. Yes.
ఫ్లెక్స్ ఐటమ్స్ లో ఈ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ లో 3 ఐటమ్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదండి.
Mm-hmm.
3
Yes.
కి ఒకటేసారి అప్లై చేయవచ్చా ఈ ప్రాపర్టీస్? 3
In,
ఐటమ్స్ కి
yes, using CSS selectors you can apply.
ఓకే.
Okay, so using CSS selector you can select multiple items, right, and you can apply. But these are the flex item properties. Okay,
ఓకే.
so
సో
you
అవి
set
కూడా
individual one. Okay,
యాహ్!
yes, okay. And flex string defines whether to when you resize, okay, the whether the item should shrink or not is defined by flex string. Okay, how far it should shrink. Okay,
ఓకే.
and flex basis is what before you it is grown or shrink. Okay, the if I mean flex grow defines the how far it should grow if there is enough space, and how far it should shrink if there isn't enough space. Those two are defined by flex grow and flex shrink, but flex basis defines what is the size of that item
ఓకే.
before it is either grown or shrunk. Okay, so the flex basis defines size of the element before remaining space is distributed. Okay, so or we can say in other words, uh, the size before it is uh, size before flex grow and flex shrink are applied, to grow the item or to shrink the item.
ఓకే.
Or we can also put this way, uh, what is the default size? Okay, but
హ్మ్.
basic size or default size of the item. Okay,
ఓకే.
what is the initial size? Or we can put this way, flex basis defines the initial size of the item. Okay, flex
ఓకే.
item. Okay, so this is flex is just a shorthand. Flex is shorthand for flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis. Okay,
హ్మ్.
and so there is a wonderful website out there. This is a website. Okay, this website actually provides a flex cheat sheet. Okay, that uh, in which we can actually check all these flex properties in action. Please open this website and let's see. Let's explore the flex cheat sheet. Let me know if it is open.
Can you please send me the link or?
Yes, I'll send you.
Yeah,
I have sent you the link.
open.
Yeah. Okay. Let's explore the cheat sheet.
Okay.
Okay. See, and we know that the first item, what do you see? See parent in this cheat sheet. Whenever you see parent, which means the flex container, right? It is being applied to, that is being applied to the flex container. Okay, parent
Okay.
being applied to. Okay, item, the it means that you know that children that are inside. Okay, so we know that flex and block, display type block and inline. So by default flex, when you make something flex, that is that will be kind of equivalent to the display block, which takes up the whole space, whole row. But
Yeah.
we have learned about inline. What is inline? Inline is something, uh, this block display block is a element of type display block occupies a whole uh, horizontal space regardless of how much space uh, the content requires of that element. Okay, but inline,
Okay.
inline, see inline element only takes up the space, enough space required for the content. So,
Yeah.
so when you make a display flex, so you are actually pushing that whole container. Here, tell me what is a flex? This dotted area, dotted line is a
Flex container.
container, and 1, 2, 3, 4 are flex items.
Okay.
Okay, that
Yeah.
we are applying to that dotted element, which is a container. Okay, when you
Yeah.
make that flex, it is kind of equivalent to block where it is being pushed to the next line. But when we don't want that thing to happen, we want this thing to be a flex, but as well as act as an inline element. In such a case, we can apply display inline flex.
Okay.
So, and this is a wonderful thing. You can see this thing in action as well as you can explore and read through the standards and especially from w3.org. Okay, the flex container standards. And let's go to what is this? The flex direction. You see, flex direction, what we have seen, flex direction is what defines the main axis. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So now it is by default is a row flex direction. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you make it a column, main axis is vertical.
Okay.
So items are laid along main axis. Okay, but as we may this a column. The row reverse is just a row, but the main axis starts from right to left. Okay,
Okay.
here is the difference. Okay, so when you make a, what is difference between row and row reverse? Okay, the row flex direction, when you make a row, main axis starts from left to right.
Okay.
Yeah, but a row reverse.
Right to left.
Yeah. So it starts from
Right to left.
right to left. Okay, so that items are laid from right to left. Okay, so it is used. It is quite, there are many useful cases, use cases for this. One of the use cases is actually when you are also dealing with the writing system that uses right to left, like Arabic,
Okay.
Hebrew. Okay, So in such a case, or in such a case, you might want to place items from left to right to left. In such a case, just put items and just apply flex reverse instead of sorry, row reverse instead of just a row. Okay. So what is column reverse? It is just a column, but the main axis instead of main axis starting from top to bottom. Okay. So it starts from bottom to top.
Okay.
Okay. Or a column reverse. Okay. So the starting point is called a flex. Okay. Now let's move forward. Okay, what is this one? Flex wrap.
Okay.
Okay, flex wrap. What is flex wrap? Which is done, which defines whether the item should be wrapped, which means that if you use no wrap, items each item will shrink and to make a room for all other items. But when you use wrap, they will be wrapped. Okay, to the
Okay.
new line. The row.
Dimensions ఏమైనా అవసరం లేదా అప్పుడు?
I didn't get you what?
Like, don't we need to give any dimensions? Like,
No need to give any dimensions, but
how will
yeah.
they adjust to that size?
See, here child is a 40%. But
Okay, okay, yeah.
is it really the 40% here? No.
No.
Okay. So so when you use no wrap, they will be actually forced to stay on single line. If required, they will be actually they will be shrunk. They will shrink.
Okay.
Okay, if necessary, each item will shrink.
Okay. So
But
to wrap once,
yeah. So
take
this
out
is
this
a
width.
yes. Now the when you use wrap, it is actual size, which is a 40%. You see, yeah,
Yeah,
forty
that's what
percent. Yeah, 40%. So flex wrap actually, what happens when you use flex wrap? The browser will try to place each element, but it is trying to place third element here, but
Okay.
it doesn't fit
It
here.
does.
So
Yeah.
it is placed in the next line.
Fine. Okay.
Okay. So the best thing is you're not limited to this one. Go and take the copy the CSS and you can write this HTML quickly using divs and use a class parent and child and just you can tweak this thing.
Okay.
Okay. So and for your better understand.
Mm.
Okay. So do you understand this flex?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. Mm.
okay. Now next one. What is next one? Flex flow.
Okay.
Okay. See flex flow. Okay. So what we have learned, flex flow is just a shorthand.
Okay.
Okay. Flex flow is just a shorthand for a flex direction and flex wrap. Okay. Then instead of using two properties, you just give a flex flow, the what direction it should use. What is the main axis it should use. Row.
And right.
Yeah, and the flex wrap. Whether to wrap or not. Okay, and there are multiple properties. It is a combination of, like I said, flex direction and uh, flex wrap. Just a combination. You see it is being changed. Yeah. So without this, you just need to apply those two properties. Got it?
Okay.
Yeah. Just a convenient shorthand.
Okay.
So what is the next one? Flex order. We have learned about uh, we have learned, we have seen that order where we can use this thing, okay, uh,
Mm.
to they are actually, in fact, they are the order of these elements is 1, 2, 3, 4. But we want to,
Third.
particularly take one of that element, one of the element and place it, uh, somewhere. Okay.
Okay.
So somewhere or beginning or at the end. Okay. So in such a case, we can use order. Okay. The by default property is 0.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 0 means which will be placed wherever it is. Okay.
Okay.
And one is actually at the end, and -1 is the beginning. So you see the order. Other elements are pushed. Okay.
So if
When
they select item 3 anywhere,
yeah. So this child features is applied to item 3. Okay.
3. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
item 3. This is a feature. This is the one applied to item 3. Just
Okay.
go on. Let's check this one. Yeah. So plus uses. Okay. 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So let's make a third one featured.
Okay.
Okay. So we are applying these two. Okay. So start parent. Just copy. We can just copy this whole thing. Just like that. I'm just making the
Border.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just don't mind about this. Okay.
Mm.
Sorry, just a color.
Color.
Okay. So yeah.
Okay.
So we have this thing. So what is featured? Featured is the third one. Okay. You see, it is
Okay.
where it is placed in the first place. -1 means beginning. 1 means last. Let's place it second place. So typical values would be,
Only three, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Only like -101
Yeah.
works.
Yes. So yeah. Okay, and there's a booster. Booster also uses uh, same kind of approach, and there you can view actually particular the position. Okay,
Okay.
so exact position. Okay, so here also you can view exact position. You, no, we're not doing any mistake. Right?
లేదు వేరే కూడా ఉన్నాయండి 0 1 2 3.
Yeah, yeah. So you can, yeah, yeah. You can view, but it is not this. It is not being applied. Okay, well, let's revisit this thing. Let's. Okay. So
ఎందులో చేస్తున్నారు మీరు గూగుల్ క్రోమా
uh, yes,
కోడ్
it is
కోడ్ పని మీద?
code pen. I'm using Brave browser. Probably this might not be supported by Brave browser. I'm using Brave.
ఓకే.
Okay. So this is a variant open source of open source browser. It is.
ఓకే.
Okay. So which is based on a kind of similar variant for Chrome. Similar to
ఓకే.
Chrome. So not sure if it is not supported by this Brave browser, but you see, it takes a single integer value would specify the order and group flex item belongs to.
ఓకే.
Okay, so integer means so here it is not just limited to that one, 0 and 1. That's all. Okay, so have you tried in Chrome? I'll check once, okay, later. But you see, do you understand that, but at least, the motive, you understood, the concept, right? Order, you actually use it to, you can use the order to actually take away its, its position and place it, wherever you want.
ఓకే.
So, but -1 and 1 are actually two values. -1, which is used to place it in the beginning, and 1 is used to place it at the end.
ఓకే.
Okay.
Is it not depending on the position where it is like if you take
Yeah,
two as a child, and if we apply order for this two,
yeah, yeah.
so for minus one it will be in the first position, and for one it will be in the last position.
Yes, yeah. No, no, no. You see, you are just shifting, It shifts, right side.
Yes,
You
yes.
see, that is
Okay.
what happened. So when you make it one, what happened? So actual position elements are just shifted. Okay, the
Mm.
shifted
So
right
what if
side.
we apply that to
What?
what if we applied that to two?
Yeah, yeah. Again, you are applying that to two, and then two becomes. You just do it here. Let's do it. If each side, if you are placing this one here, let's start a minus one. You see, three is here. Okay, and I can put that style here. Order. Okay,
Okay.
minus one. Okay. Okay, so this just depends on how CSS is computed. Okay, uh, so computed. Okay, so when you actually put the same item, multiple items uh, at a one, if you apply the same order to multiple items, the result is undeterministic. Okay,
Okay.
okay. You see here, this is not probably not working here in this browser. Okay.
Okay.
Here is the MDN documentation where you can see, you can take on, you can apply, position wherever it is. Fourth one.
Okay.
Can you see?
Mm.
Order 2, order minus 1. Okay.
Okay.
So this takes the integer value. Probably it is not working in this. Browser compatibility is a big issue, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that that could be the reason here. That is why we are not seeing that. Okay. So let's make this thing 0. Okay. So this is the order. You see,
Mm.
order me. Okay. This is the one we are
Okay.
placing. So when I use it, when I place it here, see, when I make this thing 2, what happened? It is placed the second place. You see. Okay. So what happened to other items? They are just pushed. Okay. They are just
Okay.
so this is when what happens when you put someone in the queue, uh, people in front will just move forward, and people that are actually backwards move back behind, move
So,
backwards to make the face. Okay, so just make it
so
a
by
3. Just make it a 3. You see, again it is placed here. Okay, let's make it
fourth.
a 4. You see, it is placed here. Okay, let's make it a 1. Okay, see, that is one is where a 0 means actually where it is. That is the default one. One means
Mm.
it is placed first, two, second, three, third. Okay.
So
Yeah.
the
Here you might ask. Actually, this is also applied probably. Uh, order two we are getting twice. Okay.
they may yeah,
Yeah.
but by the example we did now,
Ah.
if we apply order one to that,
Ah. Yeah. Yeah.
why it is going to last then? Not here in code pen.
Code pen. Yeah. Yeah. Order one. Uh, order one means
Minus
actually, yeah, one,
yeah, why to the
one,
back.
yes, yes,
Minus one is working fine because
yeah,
it is
yeah,
the least one which is
yeah, yeah,
going to the left.
zero,
But if we apply one,
yeah, yeah, uh, let's do one thing. Probably, we are Brave browser is giving us a headache. We'll come
Okay.
back, okay, once we finish this whole thing, and we'll come back to order.
Okay.
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 Yeah. So here also one more thing. Here other CSS are there because so we just
Mm-hmm.
don't want this confusion, and we'll try that one uh, in a Chrome or a Firefox.
Okay.
Okay. So okay. Now what is the next one? Alignment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what is this? Justify content.
Okay.
Yeah. Justify content is what we use it to place items along the main
So
axis.
access, yeah.
Yeah, flex start, which is the beginning. This whole thing is container. Flex end is, items are placed at the end. Center means place along the main axis center. A space between is what we use. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
space between is what we, items are placed in such a way that there would be space between items. Okay, equal space. But let's say we want that space around. Okay, we want space for the before the first item and after the last item. In such a case we use space around,
Okay.
so that that is what it is here. Space between, just to give a space between items. Space around means, as it says, gives not only between the item but also gives some space around items, so they are placed at
Mm-hmm.
the equal distance. And also uh, there would be some breathing room uh,
Okay.
around the elements, first before the first element and after the last element. Space
Yeah.
evenly is something, they will be spaced, space around is something, this is not a space is not consistent, you see.
Yeah,
uh,
in the middle it is,
yeah,
but at
it
the
is consistent around, that is something, not constant. Space evenly is something, if you want to make sure that item should be placed equally at equidistance, in such a
yeah.
case we can use a space evenly. Now all these are items, we are not touching any flex item here. All these things we are applying to parent, which is a container.
Okay. Yeah.
And align items, align self. Align self is what you use it for an individual flex item, okay, to take away that from the actual normal flow, normal alignment, and place it uh, along a cross axis. Align items is what, as we have seen, this property is used to place items along a cross axis.
Yeah.
So see, align items. So stretch, you see what happens. Stretch, items are stretched. What is a cross axis here? So see, there is no flex direction, which means that the cross axis is what,
Oh,
vertical,
sorry,
right?
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
cross axis.
you.
Yeah, cross axis is vertical. So
Mm.
so so stretch means that, we uh, all items will be stretched so that, they occupy the whole container.
Okay.
Okay. See, they are vertically stretched. Can you see? Right,
Yeah.
vertically stretched.
Yeah.
This is flex start. This is the, each item is actually is of different size, but you have a fixed container, some container of some certain width and height, the way you want to place items in such a way that items occupy whole height. So in such a case, you can just give a stretch. So this makes this thing, responsive as well. When outer, flex container is resized, items will also be resized to uh, according to the height of the container. The flex start,
Okay.
as we know, they are placed, in the beginning of the cross axis.
Okay.
Okay, so flex end is at the end of the cross axis. Okay,
Okay.
okay, or got it. And center, items are placed center. Baseline is
Mm.
just something, uh, there is actually difference here. Flex start, flex end here. The baseline, they are all placed, but items are centered. Can you see the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Auto is something which is uh, the it actually fills the
Whole flex
yeah.
content.
Yes. And there is align self here. Align self. This is applied to what? A children. Got it?
Yeah.
Child, which means a flex item. So stretch, you see, it doesn't make any difference here because they are already stretched. But flex start, you
Mhm.
see, you know, the, because we uh, all items are placed in a certain way, but you want to apply CSS to alignment to particular item. Okay, we want to
Okay.
make that a odd man. So in such a case, you can apply this flex item, but for that particular item, all align items properties are valid here. Okay, so flex start, flex end, center, baseline. Okay, a stretch.
Okay.
Okay, so just here all items are placed here according to the parent, align items, but you don't want particular items to follow that. In such a case, you can actually override that. Okay, so when do you use align self? You will use that when you want to override an alignment for a particular flex item. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, align content is like I said, we have been uh, you know, discussing this align content. It is just the same as align items, but only effective when we have multiple lines. Okay, so it is effective when we use the flex wrap property wrap. So in such a case,
Will you
yeah,
cross
yeah,
right?
you can see here, this flex wrap is applied here. So if it
Okay.
is flex wrap is not applied, all items will be placed in a single line. Even though you apply this one, it doesn't make any difference. Okay, see how it happens. You see, flex start means all lines are actually placed in the beginning. Okay, flex end means the again this how this thing works. This thing works along a cross axis. Now all items are placed along at the end of the cross axis. Center, all items are actually whole content is
Mm.
placed at the center. That is the reason it is called content. Okay, so align
Okay.
items is applied to item. So content means it is applied to whole content, which means that multiple rows. Space between means you see. You see this thing is not effective when you have a single line. Got it?
Mm.
When you have a single line, when you use flex wrap, no wrap, there would be a single line, and in such a case, if you use space between, there would be there are no lines, so that there is no point of applying a space between. Got it? Uh,
No.
for a aligned
Uh,
content.
Alien content. Okay.
Yeah. So
Because it adds to cross axis. So
yeah, but for a
yeah.
multiple lines.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. So let's say you have single line only. Okay, single line
mm.
only. Let's say you have single line. Okay, and you use the no wrap. In such a case, all items will be placed on a single line. In such a case, if you use space between, you don't have a second line to place them. By
Mm.
giving a space between. Got it?
Mm.
Okay. So because it
Yes.
is you have only single line, and align content is not effective, it doesn't make any difference. A space
Mm.
around is same as a justify content space around. It gives a space around the lines. A stretch, now all items are placed
Okay.
and stretched to occupy the space. No, to occupy the whole height. This is where our flexibility. See this thing comes. Uh, okay, so what is left here? Just a flex grow, flex shrink, and a flex
Mm.
basis. Okay, so and a flex is just a shorthand. Got it?
And
Yeah,
three, yeah.
shorthand for three. So what these properties describe or define. So they actually, they make the Flexbox container responsive. The where you can actually define this flex grow and flex grow and flex shrink are actually unitless values. Okay.
Okay.
So the unitless means you know what is a unit. When you define size, we use pixels, inches, okay, points, and m
Mm.
and rem. Okay, so that is what we use. When we define width or height. But
Yeah.
this flex grow and flex shrink don't define. We use they are unitless and just values, integers. What they
Okay.
define the proportions. Okay, the proportion, how much proportion item should occupy, uh, uh, when there is enough space. Okay,
Okay.
so it defines flex grow defines the ability to grow and ability to shrink. So flex basis is what, like I said, flex basis is just the initial value.
Okay.
So we use a flex basis to define the initial value, and the flex grow defines the proportion at which the element should grow to occupy the remaining space. And
Mm.
proportion by which element shrinks is defined by flex shrink. Let's see that in action. Okay, you see a 0, which is a default
Yeah.
value. They are just uh, placed there, the, with the actual
Sure.
size. But when
Okay.
you give flex 1, what happened? Uh, it actually taking up a proportion 1 of the remaining space. But it is actually again even more visible, may, uh, more prominent, like when you use it with the multiple items. Okay,
Okay.
let's do that. Let's do that with the multiple items using code pen. Let me open Firefox one this time. Okay, so yeah, and one more thing before we try that one. Let me tell you. Let's say what happens if you apply one to all items. All items will be actually occupy the same width and height. Okay, same width. And let's say if you use one for one element and two for another element, what happens? Let me show you. It is just a, what is that? It is just a proportion. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have flex items, right? Let's say these are flex items, and we have flex container, lot of space. Okay. So if we give one to this item, okay, one, which is a flex grow, and two to this item, how they will be laid? That is a fraction. You can give fractions as well. The first item
Okay.
means just you haven't applied anything. So this is only effective when you have enough space. Flex grow. So
Okay.
since you applied flex grow, okay, flex grow one, grow two, what happens? The proportion. These are the proportions. Okay, they occupy, and this other one occupies 2 times. Okay.
Total of what?
In terms of it is just a proportion of let's say remaining space is just a it is a the proportion is a in terms of remaining space. This is the remaining space.
Okay.
Okay. So let me redraw this. That is the remaining space. So
Mm-hmm.
just think remaining space as a 3. Okay. In terms of remaining space. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So if you just divide, uh, a remaining space 3, just if you think, no, 2 portions. Okay. This one
Oh,
occupies 2 portions and this one takes a 1. Got it?
okay.
Okay. So let's see that in action. So let me copy this thing as well. And let's give a background color for the parent. Okay.
Okay.
So let's give width. Okay. 720 pixel. Okay. Now just we want 3 items. Let's remove remaining. Okay. And
Mm.
okay. So let me apply dot F2 flex grow 1 dot F3 flex grow 2. Okay. So
Okay.
see what is happening. So that is just a proportion, take up the let me comment this whole thing or remove. That is what that is the size of this,
Mm.
right? Actual size. So this is the remaining space. Got it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So flex grow defines how much uh, space that item should occupy
Okay.
in terms
Yeah.
of that remaining space. So
Mm.
if I okay, now you see F2, I have applied F2 1. Okay, which means this remaining space it occupied one portion, and
Yeah.
yeah, second F3 occupied two, two
Good.
you know
Mm.
two portions. Okay,
Good.
other percentage. Let's say that in terms of percentage also you can say, okay, or in you you can say fractions. Okay, so it takes the one fraction, no, one third, it takes the two thirds. Got it?
Okay.
Yeah. So let's say if I make it 3, what happens? You see this flexible, it is the F2 shrunk and took that
Mm.
more space. Okay.
Okay. Mm.
So if I give F1, okay, grow 1, what happens? These two will be of same size.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't applied here CSS. Let me put F1. Okay, you see?
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of occupying the remaining space,
Okay.
hello? Bye. రాలేదు ఆ, రాలేదు ఇంకా. సరే ఫోన్ చేద్దాం ఫోన్ చేద్దాంలే ఒకసారి ఆ, నువ్వు చేస్తావా అంటున్నా సరే రాని వస్తాడు అనుకున్నా రాలేదు కదా చెప్పారులే బాబాయ్ చేస్తా అన్నారు కదా ఆ, 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 సరే సరే ఆ, సరే బాబాయ్ సరే ఆ, హలో హలో హలో
Hello.
yes okay as you can see in terms of occupying the remaining space uh, we gave a flex grow one on one for this chair one and chair item one and item two. They took no it, uh, same space and they are of same size. But as you can see, you can also say in term this way. It is of 3 times the item that has a flex zero one. Okay,
Yeah.
so we can also give, yeah, you see fractions. You can also give fractions. Okay.
But negative values are not accepted.
Yes. Negative values are not accepted.
Mm.
So you can give all fractions. Okay. Just Flexgrow default, if we give 0, that would be just its actual size.
Okay.
Okay. So so you can create a powerful layouts by combining flex grow, flex shrink, flex spaces, and then flex wrap. Okay,
Mm.
so using these things, you can actually make a powerful responsive. So
Mm.
we'll see that how to use a flex wrap along with these properties so that we can make a responsive layout. Okay, but do you
Okay.
understand this one? Flex
Yes.
grow and
Yes.
flex
Yes.
shrink. Okay, so I
Mm.
can make just two. Okay, you see, just uh, just took a two portions of the remaining space, and the F1 took the one portion and the F2 took the one portion. If you give one for all, what happens? They will be just uh, of the equivalence, they will take a equivalent space, so they will be of the same size.
Okay.
We'll just give one to all of the items. I just let's say I want to take three portions of the remaining space for F1. This I can give flex group 3. Okay, this thing only applies if there is a enough space. Then what happens if I just go and shrink this one parent, shrink this to 220. You know that if there is no enough space, so it didn't go.
Adjusted with.
Yeah, it didn't
Uh,
go. Okay, so when does these when do these items grow? When only to occupy the remaining space. Okay? So flex grow is the property to define how much portion the item should take to occupy the remaining space in the container. Okay, so it just again, if I give 420, what happens? It is just a remain this just define the proportions in terms of the remaining space, which is just
okay.
three portions, and this defines a one portion and one portion. This defines the three times or just three portions.
Mm.
Okay. Now let's go back and check the flex shrink. Flex shrink is actually uh, which is the same. Flex shrink is the same as flex grow, just opposite. Okay. So zero is like said zero is just flex shrink is opposite to flex grow. You know, if there isn't enough space, how far it should shrink.
Okay.
Okay. So how far it should shrink, that is
Mm.
defined by flex shrink. Let's go on view. Uh, Try this one on in our example. Let's give let's give 120. So here the third item, let's say 220. Okay. The third item, let's give flex shrink.